Hi, this is the first of my answers to the Ask Sarah questions that are coming in. They're awesome questions, by the way. I'm loving them. I think you're going to like this first one, and I suspect many people can relate. So I'm just going to read it as I got it. As my 12-year-old son starts to show early signs of the terrible teens, in quotation marks, how do I proactively stay engaged and connected with him? Seeing how quickly he has been changing or developing, totally normal and expected growth, by the way, I have a newfound urgency to connect with him more now. Ooh, I get this. I have 2 teen boys myself and have felt this and keep feeling versions of this, the sense of loss and panic, really, of them separating what they're supposed to be doing. And so this is real. And I have a lot of compassion. So I want to talk to you about stuff that's in your court first, which is how we're responding to it. Very interesting. I love that you said terrible teens, in quotation marks. Very interesting perspective. That's just a minor language thing, but I think it speaks volumes that you already have some judgment and resistance to it and have called it terrible. So this natural response, somewhere in the low mind, the unconscious mind, you've already determined that this is a bad thing. So you're going to be looking at your experience with your son through that lens. So that's first thing to look at. Second thing to look at is when we have a shift in anything, but particularly in relationships that are close to the heart, it is going to activate our low mind, the emotional brain. And the way I typically see parents respond to this is a couple different ways. By the way, I've done all of these. Our first response is to try to control them or control the situation. So that might look like stricter rules, just overparenting, getting really into their stuff. So notice an attempt to control, and notice an attempt to bribe. Okay, fine. If I can't control, I'm going to try to pull them. I'm going to contort and manipulate the situation to try to get them closer to me so I can feel the closeness. So that can look like anything, bribery, incentives, and some of that's totally healthy and fine, but just check for where it's coming from. And then another way that we deal unconsciously with the shifts is that we'll reject it or criticize it. And we tend to reject or criticize our teens. We don't like what they're doing. We don't like their choices. That wouldn't be what we do. And we say it in kind of subtle or not so subtle ways in our language. So these are some of the places I'd like you to consider for yourself first, because that's your stuff to work with and work on. In terms of actual behaviors or external things you could do maybe to help create connection with your son. One, I would say just go into his world. I feel the same loss with my 16-year-old right now. I just don't see him very much. And what I do sometimes when he's playing video games, because he just needs to chill out, I don't try to talk to him. I just go and sit next to him. And I watched this Creed Assassin, I think that's the game name. I watched him play it. It happened to be in ancient Greece or Egypt or something, which I love. So there was something in there that was curious for me that I could ask a few questions. And we ended up, I hate the game, by the way. I hate the whole thing about it. And I went into his world. I didn't criticize it, and I got curious. And it really did create a moment of connection. Another thing we do as a family here is just carve out white space time for our family. And white space time is a block of time that has no preset agenda. So we have a block of time every weekend we try, and we all get to decide together what we're going to do. Often it's to go out to eat, or we'll go on a hike, or we'll go to a movie, but there is time that's generally together outside, and we don't lecture, we don't talk, we don't ask a bunch of questions. It's just about being together. And just, if that's consistent, then there are more moments of connection that happen when you have that. Another is just share stories from your own childhood. and your own experience of being a teenager that humanizes you, and it brings in a lot of humor, and it helps your child see that you weren't perfect, and gives them a little bit of insight to the way you think. And then lastly, my favorite, I'll probably end everything with this, is your presence is everything. So when you're really fully there with them, when you are with them, be fully aware and be there, and let them feel that you are there for them. And you may be amazed at those spontaneous times when you are fully present, that they can feel that and that they come towards you. So I hope some of those tools helped some perspective, and it's a journey. Teen years are no joke. So wishing you the best. And for those of you listening, please keep sending in your questions to sarayao.com, and you can go to my resources page and you'll see an Ask Sara section there. All right, take care.